Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a test user or to add users manually. Um, the reason why you want to create a test user is that way, whenever you're testing your enrollment methods, you can use sandbox accounts, um, or you can change the payment amount. Instead of having the actual payment amount, $200, $400, you can just set it to $1 and use your live credentials and test it that way. Or you can just set up a sandbox account and use sandbox credentials. Either way, the easiest way is to do the $1 deal, because once it goes through once, it's going to go through 1,000 times, and use live credentials. So with that said, I'm in a different account. This is not a Course Creative Instructor / admin account. This is a pure Course Creative Instructor account like you guys have. So the very first thing we need to do is go to our profile. If you haven't already done it, get your profile, your instructor ID. So we can just go to settings here and edit profile and retrieve our ID. It's all the way at the bottom, other fields. And this one is 150. So I cannot stress this enough. I mean, you won't be able to create the user unless you put that number in, but you'll have to have this number in order to create your user. So, and just as a side note here, I'm sure you guys have seen this image right here. You can use animated GIFs as your course image. So we'll go into view, make sure editing is turned off, and we'll go to users, and right here, enrolled user, and we'll do new user. And we'll just call this one test 4. And it's always going to be a manual account. Suspended accounts, you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you want the system to generate a password for the user and it'll email them a password, that's okay. Or you can just do one here, give them that password and they can change it on their own. Or you can select this and they'll, when they enter this password, they'll be forced to change the password. You have a couple different options for that. So, and here you want to make sure that you have another email address that you can use, that you can actually access. That way you can test the account. For this purpose, I'm just going to enter a dummy email address, but you have to have one that you can actually access, or have to have one, if you're creating one for a new user, they have to have an email address that they can access. I leave mine always as far as the email display, to this one. But you can hide it or you can allow everybody to see it. It's up to you. This is my city. This is where the country, and you got to make sure your time zone is correct. If not, the calendar and all that will not sync up for this user. Their preferred language is English. If not, it'll automatically detect it. And you can put a profile picture in if you have one. If not, they can set it in their profile. But since we're setting up a test user, there's no need to have a profile. And right here is the other fields. This is where you need to put in your ID. Now, if you did not have an ID, like if you tried to create the user without the ID, you'll get this notification. So we'll do 150 and create user. We'll give it a second. Okay, now to enroll the user, you created a user. Now you got to go to enroll user and you'll see the user right here. So you'll select it and now you can choose what role you want them to be in. Oops, right here. Course Creative Instructor. For example, if you're wanting to bring on somebody to help you with the with the course management, you can do that. You can assign them as a teacher or non-editing teacher. Each one has lesser and lesser permissions. Or in this case right here, we want to do as a student. That way we can test. So now we'll do Enroll User. And now you can see that the student is right here. Now, for example, this one right here has both course creative instructor and teacher role. I can remove that and just save. If I wanted to add to this role, I click that pencil, I select the drop down, and I select whatever I want, not editing teacher, then click save. That's how you change the roles for the user. Okay, so we're clear about how to add a user, how to change the roles for the user. Now, just trying to think if there's anything else we need to. So now all you got to do is test the login. So for this test user, so we'll go out, we'll log out. And we'll log back in. Oh, I already forget my own credentials. Score test 4. Oh, that's what I put in here. Must not have the password correct. Let me log back in and see my user. How did I forget that fast? But you guys know how it is. You're trying to do multiple things at one time. So let me go and check on this user real quick. So we'll go back into the course and we'll view users, enrolled users. And so if you need to change anything, all you got to do is click on the username. So we'll go back to here because it shows him as active. So that means we're good to go. If it showed like inactive, that means because your course date, start date hasn't started yet. So you'll need to change the course date on, change it where it's a date, it's either present or in the future or in the past in order to show the student is active, because they won't be active until the course is actually accessible. So let's go back in here. So, yeah, so edit profile. Did I even put a password in here? You guys remember? Test. That is it. What was it? Oh, because I have, okay, I spelled it, okay. That's the problem. All right, so we'll still update the profile. Can I find record? That's okay. This isn't applicable to you. If you ever get this message, just go ahead and click continue. So the changes were saved. Log out. And now we can log in with our new user. Cool. Test 4. Test. Creating the profile right now, and boom, there's their dashboard. And you can already see they're enrolled into this course. So, and the reason why they're enrolled in this course is because I have it set as auto enroll. Normally, if you create, well, no, I'm sorry, I take that back, because we created a user for that course. So and it automatically enrolls them. It shows up right here in their profile. So, is there anything else? There is a video for students where I go over the student profile and all that you can either send ahead of time. You can, a link to the video, whatever. That way students have an idea of how to navigate. I think that'd be a great idea. So you could actually put that in your welcome messages, like your subscription or your enrollment on payment welcome messages. I would highly suggest doing that. So you can get obviously from the instructional, it's the last video, I believe, at the bottom of the page for the student overview. And I would take that link and I would put it in my welcome message. That way you don't get hit with a whole bunch of how do you do these things. So, and the purpose of creating this, your external user is to have a test student user. So you will need to have your main window open, which is your instructor, your course creator instructor account, and have that open like in Chrome, and then have the student opened up in Firefox or Edge or whatever other browser you're using. That way you can look at them at the same time, and that'll make more sense when you get into the enrollment type in videos, the enrollment on payment and subscription, and then that'll make a whole bunch more sense. But until then, we know how to create a user now, so I will see you guys in the next video.